Climate change is a trend of an increasing variety and severity of transformations to the climate of regions worldwide, being largely attributed to the heavy reliance of fossil fuels in our daily life. For many Americans, everything from their commute to work to their home appliances and electronics, and even the clothes they wear and the food they eat, rely in some shape or form on the burning of fossil fuels. This widely accepted practice of electricity and mechanical energy generation has transformed societies globally and paved the way to great scientific and humanitarian achievements, but has unfortunately caused one of the largest threats to our planet since the widespread proliferation of nuclear weapons brought on by the Cold War.
Yet many are fighting back against climate change and are making a great effort to curb its effects, from individuals installing renewable energy devices to offset the need for fossil fuels, to entire countries working with scientists to minimize their carbon emissions. There is a tremendous response to this global threat, yet one Chicago Southside neighborhood is taking a different stance to this threat of climate change. Working with the electric utility company ComEd, the Brownsville neighborhood is currently piloting technology that would allow for smarter power delivery and a more seamless introduction of home renewable energy generators into the electric grid.
There is not much surprise that the Brownsville neighborhood was chosen to pilot the community of the future, seeing as its home to several large institutions, from hospitals to police headquarters to higher education centers like the Illinois Institute of Technology. However, Brownsville also has a rich history of development and creativity, which is certainly shining through to these projects today. Starting at the turn of the 20th century, there was a movement of more than 6 million African Americans from the southern United States to the West, Midwest, and the Northeast, dubbed the Great Migration. One area which saw a large influx of new residents was in the Chicago South Side, an area which is known today as the Brownsville neighborhood. Quickly, the Brownsville residents established a strong and supportive community, one of which offered them services that they were previously denied due to racial prejudice and segregation. Establishments were built to support the growth of the community, such as the Regal Theater, the Wabash YMCA, Providence Hospital, and the George Cleveland Hall Public Library. Nearly a century later, these establishments are still operating in their original capacity or have adapted to better serve the Brownsville community.
These establishments, and the dedicated individuals and groups who ran them, solidified Brownsville's status as a burgeoning, forward-thinking community, which attracted many brilliant minds to live and be discovered there. Some notable Brownsville residents include the dancer and social activist, Katherine Dunham, the journalist and early civil rights leader, Ida B. Wells, the author and novelist, Richard Wright, and the educator and poet, Gwendolyn Brooks. Their creativity and dedication to solving the problems they faced certainly carries on today, thanks to the numerous secondary and higher education centers which not only prepare Brownsville students for the working world, but also directly involve them in the challenges of their field. IIT, for example, teaches their students in environmental management and sustainability, a field which is directly involved with fighting climate change. Now, climate change is certainly a difficult crisis to approach due to all the factors which contribute to it. According to a 2014 Environmental Protection Agency study, 65% of all greenhouse gases generated by human interactions was carbon dioxide, a byproduct of using fossil fuels. On top of that, roughly 1/4 of total emissions were due to electricity and heat generation, 1/5 of the total was from heavy industry, and roughly 15% was from transportation. As every day goes on, these industries continue to contribute to the global climate change crisis.
That being said, there are indeed efforts to curb climate change, even if they seem like they aren't having any noticeable effect, as year by year the amount of global CO2 generation rises steadily. The reason for this apparent inaction from the abundance of research going into fighting climate change is that most solutions are just being implemented or lie in the near future. Programs like ComEd's Smart Grid and the Community of the Future projects are currently in their pilot stages and are being put through the tests before its technology is implemented on a larger scale. As previously mentioned, there are many ways to tackle climate change, and a desirable and practical method is to reduce the need for and reliance on fossil fuels. One of the features of ComEd's Smart Grid would allow homeowners to seamlessly connect their renewable energy generators directly into the power grid. This approach of increasing the feasibility of green homeowner power generation directly reduces the need of fossil fuels to be burned without disrupting the energy usage of residents. Taking this one step further, using technologically improved devices such as LED light bulbs, heat pump climate control, smart thermostats, and energy-efficient home appliances can reduce further demand for electricity, and therefore the need to burn fossil fuels is again cut.
One of the most important things that you can do as an individual to combat climate change is to be mindful of waste in your everyday life. As mentioned previously, a pretty substantial decrease in home power usage can be obtained by using high efficiency and smart appliances. There are even rebates and recurring reward programs which make these devices more affordable than ever. Opting to take public transportation instead of driving your daily commute is also a great way to reduce your carbon footprint, or the carbon dioxide generated from you directly or indirectly using fossil fuels. And if taking public transportation isn't an option, consider the economic and environmental savings by using a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Through ComEd's electric vehicle cost calculator, you can even compare your current gasoline-powered vehicle to an electric one, and see an estimate of how much you could save in money and carbon dioxide emissions. In addition to the impact you can make, it's just as important to have others evaluate their impact too. We have a great challenge ahead of us. We've dug ourselves in a pretty deep hole and now need to figure how we're going to get ourselves out. There are global efforts in the works to cut back the emissions from heavy industry and energy generation, but an even more important role is shaping up for millions of Americans nationwide. With the steady advancements being made to turn the community of the future into the nation of now, it is important to understand the incoming changes and advancements to our society as it prepares to adapt to the groundbreaking technology being pioneered here in Bronzeville today.